Hello everyone and welcome to the full market analysis volume 18. So all we're looking at here is all of our charts, give you some of our views, and we're also going to give you our predictions alongside that. So again, I really do hope this video helps. We're just going to show you what we're thinking. All of the analysis may or may not be correct, but again, this is what we're looking out for. So if you're new to this channel or you're a new trader, we have a trading group that you can join. That link is in the description below. I'm not going to go into so much detail, but yeah, definitely check it out and feel free to join. So beginning with this video, we have gold, Euro USD, New Zealand JPY, and USD CAD that I want to talk over in a bit more detail. Just because we could be looking at some good opportunities in that week. So we'll start off this video with New Zealand dollar USD. So what's been happening over the past few days? So we've had a short-term consolidation period here. You can see by this short wedge forming. Now we're in a second phase of a consolidation period. Just for the past few days now. So the start of July. We're stuck in this range. So we've got a very strong range here. Now my bias is towards the upside. Now for this, I have this uptrend drawn, and you can see it's being respected. The only times that we could see an invalidation here is if we make a break and close below this level of the market. This would obviously indicate that we are now pushing lower, and now this uptrend is now not valid. So we could be looking at some potential pushes to the downside if we make moves below this point of the market. But for the time being, as we're still floating around in this range, I do believe that the market still has some opportunities and some strength to push to the upside. I will not be surprised if we break above 0.66 and potentially push a little bit higher. But this is what we could be looking at for this week. And then in terms of the long term move, I will be expecting a correction, periodically a long rejection, because if we look at how much we've been pushing up, we do need a correction, and we could be looking at a level being retested of this structure level at minimum. So of course, if price does go to where we said, that's just 300 pips. So the rewards are very healthy here. So we do have a lot of decisions to make. So we can make the short-term move to the upside, and then a potential move to the downside as well. So just keeping a lookout for this. And again, remember these two ranges here that we need to keep an eye out for. So the next pair we're going to look at is AUDUSD. Same situation really with this pair. Is we're still in this range here, but we're still pushing up, and I do believe that we do need a correction to the downside, a very deep correction. I would even adjust this level actually to this point of the market. I can just visually just see this here, but this would be the last structure point with some confluence, support here, and I'm sure if I could go back, we could find some relevant points, like here and here. Oops, if we drag this, you can see visually here we've got some resistance here. So this is really how you should be looking at the markets. But anyway, eventually when price makes its move to the upside, so I do have a feeling that price is still able to make a push more towards the upside, clearing this level, this current high. So this would be around 0.706, and potentially pushing just a little bit higher, and then we could expect some price movement to stall. So we could start to see some significant wick rejections, which is where I'm paying attention to, and then we could start to see price push to the downside. So if we do get a sell option, I'm looking at a minimum for price to return into this level. So again, 300 pips. This is the downside opportunity, which is very worthy in my eyes. But again, this would be the next long-term move. But for the current move, I will be looking for the push to the upside a bit more, because I still feel like the momentum is still, pushing up. And if we check the RSI, we could start to see some divergence here. So you can see here, peak to the downside, peak to the low. So you can clearly see that this peak is low on the RSI but high in price action, and on the RSI here, this is the high point and this is the low point in comparison to these 2 points here. So this is a clear uptrend, this is a clear downtrend. Okay, so RSI point is indicating that we are losing momentum. Again, we just now need to wait and stay patient for this drop and this opportunity to, of course, arise. So again, that's pretty much where I'm looking at for AUDUSD. Now moving on to USDJPY. So with this pair, it's been a quite tricky one. I'm really looking and paying attention to this level of the market here. Double bottom as they call it, but I'm seeing this as a very strong support. Not only is this valid here, we've got multiple wick rejections on this level, so we could look at this as an inverted head and shoulders with multiple rejection points at the same time. So I think that what we could be looking at here is a strong move to the upside, and I'm looking at this area of the market to potentially being tested. Now the reason for this is obviously a multiple previous resistance points in the market using this structure. So if you go back enough, you'll be able to find that this zone here is acting as previous resistance or support. But yeah, we can see price pushing out. So my main interest is this trend line here. If I adjust it properly, we do have this level of the market here. So if we retest this here, we can see we had a breakout, and we've had multiple failures to break out. We've had one here, but we've got that retest here, which is very deep into this level. But this is why I adjusted it just ever so slightly to around here. But if we were to play off this line, this structure still holds, and we could see price make its momentum move towards the upside. So I'll be looking at this structure level here. You can just visually see this, multiple resistance, support, resistance. So there's a very strong, level of the market here. So what we could be looking at in terms of trading opportunity is a push and closure to the upside, retest, and then that continuation towards the upside. Again, this is where I'm visually looking at this. It really just depends, of course, if we can get that continuated momentum to the upside. But yeah, I still believe that this could make its move to the upside. So from where we are now, if you were to take an aggressive buy for a risk of 40 pips, the potential upwards move is 130. So there is I do believe that's more than a 2 to 1. Let me have a look. So if we place it around here, 44 pips. Yeah, so just over go 3 to 1. Yeah, 3 to 1. So risk 44 pips for 131. So that's a good risk reward ratio. Again, you would obviously need to adjust your risk and make sure that you're only risking 1 to 2% of your account, of course. But again, this is what a good setup would look like if you did want to take a 44 pip stop loss. Wait for price to make its move to the upside. So looking at Canadian dollar to the Japanese yen, again, we're looking at another consolidation period, multiple resistance here and multiple support levels here. So looking at that, you can clearly see this is very two key levels of the market, and all we're waiting for is that push to the downside, retest, and again the push again to the downside. Or if we make a move to the upside, it's just literally the reverse. So wait for the closure to the upside, the retest, and then again the momentum move to the upside, and we could be looking at a move up to the 8150. In terms of the downside opportunity, we could be looking at 77.5 as a level, but again, it really just depends on what the market wants to do. But you can clearly see here, two strong levels of the market, and it's been hard to kind of trade in between these ranges because again, we're not trading ranges, we're trading trend. So this is the period of the time and the market where we have to just obviously stay patient and wait. So we've been stuck in here for 38 days. So I do believe when we make a break, it will be significant. So we really don't want to miss that. So we'll be keeping my eyes peeled for this move. EURJPY, is a very tricky one as well. What I'm noticing here is a constriction between two levels of the market. So these 2 points clearly work very nicely. If I just adjust this slightly. So what I'm looking at here is price to make its move more towards the upside. I still think, we're not seeing any signs of momentum being switched at all, but I see price, potentially reach touching this top line of the wedge, and then we could start to see price make, some significant wick rejection. So if we do get to this point of the market and we start to see wicks here pushing to the downside, this would be a clear move for me to make this sell, and I'll only target to the bottom range or somewhere where we could see multiple resistance or support. So my first thing that I'll be looking at is this level here, which I can visually just see now. We could just use this as a potential target. The reason for this is because we have lots and lots of price movement and sensitivity of this area. So support, then resistance, and then failure to find support or resistance. So that's a good sign. Resistance, and etc. all the way through. So we could use these levels here. So we could round this up to around 12150. 121,500 as a level to potentially take a short. And then once we get to this level, I believe that price could make a push to the upside. So again, looking for those moves to the upside. If we can get that, the move. Sorry, this is really bugging me. Yeah, there we go. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, so the move to the upside, so we get multiple wick rejections here. This will be, the next move where I believe that in the long run we could make the push to the upside. So clearing this level, which is my next major move, 124.3. So we could be looking at an upside move of 300 pips again, and then a potential short-term move of 160 to 70. So of course this scenario needs to play out. We have to observe and stay patient. This is obviously not a concrete situation that will fold, but we need to make sure that you're not rushing into the market, taking aggressive sells, waiting for price action to obviously present itself. So it's quite a unique outlook. Of course, we have a very strict rules here, but obviously we can always update these pairs singularly if we do feel like we need to, or if our biases change, we'll of course provide that video for you. So looking now to AUDJPY, this is obviously a similar situation, but I'm taking a more approach towards this in a slow manner. Reason for this is because of this confusion of the market here. I think I need more price action to kind of make sense of exactly what's happening. So I will stay patient. I will be waiting for a bit more information and a bit more clarity here. So for me, for now, for the time being, is if we're looking at these two levels here, if we get the closure to the upside, simple, wait for the retest and again the push, and vice versa for the downside. Wait for that retest again, so close the downside, retest, and then the push further down. So all we need to do is stay patient, and I think I do need to provide a bit more of an update for you once I figured out a bit more clarity around this. But just for future reference for this week, I will be just staying clear of this pair. And if price does manage to get to these two ranges, this is what I'll be looking out for. So again, we need to just stay patient for this pair. So USD-CHF, I think this is the last two pairs I want to cover. Yeah. So USD Swiss franc, I'm looking at this in a very different manner than most people kind of do. We're in a clear downtrend. But the reason for this potential idea that I'm looking at is, we've been looking pushing down, making structure lows, structure highs. And this level of the market for me, is enough. You've got a lot of wick rejections on this level here, which is very key for me. We have an inverted head and shoulders, so the left shoulder here, the head, and then this is obviously the potential the right shoulder. So I'm using this zone here as the shoulders point. So the shoulders basically means a form of support level. So I will be looking to hold or try get into some buying opportunities and to see if we can push and make its way towards the upside of this top zone. So this is roughly at 0.95200, and this is where if we do get to this level, the next point of action is to seeing if we can make some break and closure above this trend line to the downside, which will be significant, and we could expect a big reversal. So of course we could look at more opportunities as they come, but for now I just really want to see if this level of the market will be respected over the next few days. And again, we've got all these wick rejections here to act as a form of support, so it's almost screaming to me that we could be looking at a potential good potential long here. So that's all I'm looking at for this pair, and if we do make it from here to the upside, that's around 130 150 odd pips, and then of course the next move will have to update that pair. So we'll see exactly what happens. Now looking at the final pair, EURCAD. So if you've been following us for the past few weeks now for this market analysis video, we've been stuck in this range for a very long time, almost frustrating to see, but it's taken 88 days for us to get out of this pair, and finally we've made the move to the upside. So now this could be a very exciting time for EURCAD. Again, we need to pay attention closer to the levels it's making. So we have the current high, the current low. Now what's going to happen is over the next few days we need to see if price still has enough potential to make its move to the upside, but I'm not so sure because we've been trailing up and down very slowly. If this market was really to show an upside move, it would have made this huge push and break really clean. But I'm not going to throw away any buying opportunities at all. So again, all I'll be looking for is a closure to the upside, the retest, and the push. But if the upside move is exhausted, we could see strong rejection on this level, and we could get price pushed to the downside, retest of this low, and then we'll get that continued momentum to the downside. So that's pretty much how I'm looking at that pair. Again, more details will come out in the next few days or so if I feel like I need to give you more details on the pair. So this is pretty much it for the analysis video. There's a lot of things that you kind of need to take into account, and that's of course patience, observing the key levels, and waiting. So again, I can't stress this enough that the ideas that we've shown you here, they do require a lot of patience because majority of them are quite long-term moves. They're not intraday levels, they're not day traders, they're more or less swing trading type of moves. So yeah, that's pretty much how I'm looking at the chart. So we've discussed our charts and our views, giving some of our predictions, and hopefully you did help you. Well, hopefully this does give you a bit of an insight and a bit of knowledge of what we're looking at for the next trading week. So at the start of the video, we did mention about this trading group, so that link is in the description below. Feel free to join that. We just discuss our, our charts, give you a bit of our predictions on a day-to-day basis, news updates, and eventually we're going to start giving out some more tips and tricks, just to help you with your trading. So definitely feel free to join that group. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel for all of our future analysis videos. And if you do have a question for us, make sure to follow us on our Instagram, which is at KMTRADERS. More than happy to help anyone. Of course, you just have to message us and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. So if you made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you all in the next one.